Welcome to another video from your daily database insight. In this video, we're going to talk about TLS, Transport Layer Security. And so for everybody to understand that it's important to beef up security in your servers due to the current security concerns and the cyber attack incidences that we are experiencing all over the world. SQL Server, like I said, is a very sophisticated database. It's not left behind, and therefore it is compatible with different protocols, security protocols that encrypt internet traffic and verifies the identity of a server. So you will be having a client trying to communicate to the database server, and a client driver in this case would be a JDBC, ODBC, SQL native client, whatever client that is having the specific drivers to communicate to the SQL Server database. It will, provide a secure connection, or it will ensure that we have a secure connection to your specific database server. And for this to be established, you need to use the more reliable TLS protocol. So the predecessor for the TLS is the SSL, which is pretty much not safe anymore. But TLS, operates by establishing a secure connection through a handshake process to agree on a cryptographic algorithm before transmitting application data, thereby protecting sensitive information like passwords, credit card details from interception and tampering. Now, SQL Server, we can set up or we can enable the right TLS based on the specific environments. We have very old SQL Server versions that can only operate in the predecessor of the TLS, which is the SSL. So we're talking about SQL 7, we're talking about SQL 2000 and 2005. These are going to be operating in the old security protocol. But the more you keep advancing, the better the security protocol and the newer it is and more updated and more secure. And in fact, currently the TLS version that was released, I think, in 2018 is TLS 1.3. But you will realize that most environments have been enabled. You pretty much need to enable the TLS that is compatible with your SQL Server version, and if it is not compatible, normally there are workarounds in terms of installing the compatible client drivers, and then you can resume your work as expected. To enable TLS on your server, you can go to the registry. So you can type, let me just type regedit, and that's gonna open your registry, and we can go to the current user. The current user. Actually, let's go to the local machine, because that's pretty much where the TLS is going to be configured. Local machine, let's go to system, the current control set, and then control, and then secure providers, security channel, and we will see the protocols here. So this is where your TLS is actually going to be configured. In our case, looks like we only have SSL 2.0 disabled. Now you can configure the protocols here by, you know, actually modifying the registry and being able to configure all the security protocols that you need. However, we have a specific tool here. It's called the IIS Crypto. Makes life easy. Launch this tool, or pretty much run it as administrator. And it's going to show you here that we have all of this enabled. Normally, if your environment is compatible, like I think what I'm running on this box is SQL Server 2016, that is definitely compatible with the TLS 1.2, which is currently what's on this box. Then pretty much all we need to have, and all the clients that are going to connect to this database, they need to have the TLS 1.2. So in this case, the easiest way to do this is just to click on best practices, which is going to disable all the ones that I don't need. For this to take effect, you have to reboot it, and then you need to apply. Now, before we go there, there's something else about the protocols for it to enforce the TLS that you have on the box. You will launch the configuration manager. You come to the SQL Server network configuration. The specific instance, this is configured per instance. So the specific instance, right click it, go to the properties, ForceEncryption. You need to enable this as yes, and then you need to apply it. Now, there is a PowerShell alternative to do that. The PowerShell alternative, because this is SQL Server. This is SQL Server. Let's go back to the Management Studio. This is SQL Server 2017. So for 2017, what you need to do is run this. Well, I'll just give you all the options to enable this through PowerShell. And the reason why I have this PowerShell options is because I have written a lot of unattended installs, which needs a lot of configuration without necessarily having to launch the graphical user interface. And so for the different environments, so like for the 2017 that we need, all we need to run part of your setups processes is to launch the PowerShell and to execute this. So just to make sure we are confirming exactly that it's gonna work, come to properties. I will come over here and I will disable it. I can hide the instance as well. Pretty much this is to make sure that the SQL Server browser service is not going to expose the instance. So I'll enable the hide instance option. I will disable the force encryption because we're going to force that encryption through the PowerShell. So back over here on the PowerShell, paste that, and yeah, I don't need to run that part, but I need to just run this part. Or alternatively, let's do this. Come back here. Yeah, copy that. Bring it here. That is not correct. Didn't copy it correctly. Go back here. paste it over there. Cannot find the path. 1 second. Well, we can check that with you here real quick. Oh, yeah, because that's a default. No, that shouldn't matter. That is local machine, software, Microsoft, Microsoft SQL Server, right there. Oh yeah, because it's not a default instance. So since it's not a default instance, this is what you need to do. And glad we actually saw that. So if it is a named instance, that's what you need to do. So bring it there again. And now if we go back here and check, because remember we disabled this, so if I come back here and check on properties, it shows you that it's enabled. So that's how you do it on a named instance. Now we're back over here. We're also going to apply this and reboot, and it's going to reboot the box. So that's how you enable your TLS 1.2, and make sure that you disable TLS 1.0, 1.1, and all the SSL protocols to enhance your security channel, those communication through your, through the wire. If you really want to understand how to enhance security on your SQL Server databases, then leave a comment on the chat section. If you know anybody else who is looking for such information, you must show them this video. Otherwise, thank you and have a good day.